Good morning, children. I am your English teacher, Miss Lovely, and today I came with an interesting story of 3 golden apples. At first, let's have a look on a short introduction of this story. It is an allegorical story, a story with a hidden meaning. In this story, there are 3 golden apples hanging in an old apple tree. These 3 apples have treasures inside. Treasure means precious thing. The wind that is in this apple tree often sings about this treasure. There are 3 children in this story: Gerald, Hilder and Rudolph. Each child gets each of these apples, but only one of them finds the treasure. Now let's know, why were the apples golden in color? What was the treasure? Who finds the treasure? And how? Let's begin the story. There was an old apple tree stood in an apple orchard. Orchard means an area of land with many fruit trees. During the whole summer season, the tree grew big and stretched out its branches to make its apples round and ripe. Now it was autumn, and on the old apple tree were 3 great apples, as yellow as gold and larger than any other apples in the whole orchard. As the wind blew, it seemed to sing, "Here in the orchard are apples 3. Who uses one, well shall a treasure see." This line meant that there are 3 apples in this orchard. The one who uses the apples in a good way will see a treasure, which is a precious thing. Here we get to know that the apples were so bright and yellow that it looked like golden in color. And the wind sings about the treasures which are in the apples. One morning, Gerald came down the lane, which is a small road that passed by the orchard wall, and he saw 3 golden apples, wishing to have one. Just then the wind blew, and one of those 3 apples fell down to the ground. He quickly picked it up and looked at it for some time. The apple was so tempting that he put it to his mouth and ate it. He then threw away the leftover core. Core means the central part of a fruit that contains seeds. And he moved on. But the wind in the apple trees sang sadly after him. "Here in the orchard are apples too, but gone is the treasure that fell for you." In these lines, the wind said to Gerald that there are 2 apples left, but Gerald has lost the treasure that was for him. After a while, Hilda came down the lane that passed by the orchard wall. She looked up at the 2 beautiful golden apples that were in the apple tree and listened to the wind that sang to her, "Here in the orchard are apples too, a treasure they hold for a child like you." In these lines, the wind says to Hilda that there are 2 apples left, and within these apples there is a treasure for a child like her. Then the wind blew harder, and an apple fell right in front of Hilda. She picked it up joyfully and looked at it for some time. She felt pity to eat, and so decided to keep it forever with her. She wrapped it up in a clean handkerchief, went home, and kept in a drawer. After some days, the apple got spoiled. When Hilda went to that land again, the wind sang to her, "Only one apple, where once there were two. Gone is the treasure I gave to you." In these lines, the wind says to Hilda that only one apple left, but the treasure has lost which the wind gave to her. At last, one fine morning, Rudolph went down the lane and saw one great beautiful apple. As he stood looking up at it, the wind in the apple tree sang to him, "Round and gold on the apple tree, a wonderful treasure hanging see." In these lines, the wind says to Rudolph that a wonderful treasure that is round in shape and golden in color is hanging in the apple tree. Then the wind blew harder, and the last apple fell down. He held it in his hands and looked at it for a long time, as Gerald and Hilda did. He thought how good it would be to eat or keep it forever. But he decided not to do either of these things. He took out his penknife from his pocket and cut the apple in half. Inside the apple was a star, and in each point of the star lay a small black seed. Rudolph carefully took the seeds and climbed over the wall. He then planted the seeds there in the orchard and came back to eat the apple. As Rudolph walked down the lane, the orchard wind sang for him, "A planted seed is a treasure won. The work of the apple is now well done." In these lines, the wind says to Rudolph that the seeds inside the apple was the real treasure. And after planting those seeds, the work of the apple was done, as well as Rudolph won the treasure. Thus, we came to know that the treasure was actually the seeds inside the apples. And out of those 3 children, only Rudolph was successful to know about the treasure and use it in a good way. Moral of the story is, seeds are like precious treasure. They are valuable because they grow into plants and trees. These plants and trees give us oxygen, food, shelter, medicine, and many more. Because of them, life is possible on earth. So, we must plant more and more trees and take care of the environment. Dear students, I hope this video has helped you to understand the story. Please let me know about this by putting your comments in the comment section. And please do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get all the new updates. Thank you.